That song always gives me the jitters. Welcome back to another act of the Black Hooded Sion saga. Last time, we just discovered that Sion actually has his own doppelganger after he just tried out the Sapporo for his 20th birthday. And so, with the mounting rage, the mounting lust, the bloodlust, and all that, his spirit actually split into two as he saw Master Wong get mangled by a street gang. But luckily Ayame was able to give him like a senzu bean, and Sion was about to cause a lot of trouble at Fate, but he actually stopped himself when he accidentally hit Dominique. And that was when he discovered he has a darker self after some excruciating pain. So, here comes Act 2. Alright, here we are. Meanwhile, Boss was reading a newspaper. The headline was from last night. 3 people were killed as they laid on the ground in the picture of the crime scene. No blood, no puncture wounds were shown on their dead bodies. In bold print, the title shown Slaughter on the Streets. The headline in a smaller font was also shown in bold. The shadow rises again. Paragraph was displayed saying Dog Street. A mysterious killer is on the loose claiming more victims. This has been the second coming as it took 3 innocent lives in its wake. Witnesses say that this figure is mostly shrouded in shadow. However, some say that it had a black hood up covering its identity. Others state that it could be a male by the age of 20, wearing black shorts with chains, a thick dog collar also with a hanging chain, and brown and black spiky hair. These witnesses say that it belonged to a young man they once knew, but no identities had been confirmed. The police are still on the lookout for this individual and they're waiting for the chance for him to strike again. They, on the other hand, believe he goes by the name of Sion Barzad. Uh-oh. By propaganda, the double framed the real Sion from doing these acts. Everyone in Dog Street and Edge believed him except the other bouncers, Ayame, Wong, and Dominique. As a result, after Sion's recovery, he was even banned from Fate. What was more terrifying was that whenever he looked at his own reflection, he saw his dark side. Then outside, Sion saw his shadow, but it wasn't his own. Instead, it was shaped differently, like his hood was up. However, his body type was still the same. His goal on being the Wolf of Dog Street was just a pipe dream that collapsed all around him. He once said he wanted to be a bouncer until he beat Volt. Ironically, he did, and he also lost his job and most of the trust the people had. With a deep sense of rage and vengeance, he decided to hide himself for pursuing his dark side, and to show the citizens he's the real deal. Volt and Co. decided to go with him, but only to just watch over him. Dominique, Ayame, and Wong followed suit. He had a feeling that only Sion would know where his dark side would dwell. At the same alleyway where Wong was ambushed by that street gang, jet black Sion was shrouded. He had on a raised hood and it said Dog Street on the back of his unzipped jacket with no logo. However, he had a wolf skull with, like I said, it's how you see him. At last you've come! Jumped off the ledge and landed without any injury. Sion couldn't comprehend this. He saw his alter ego. You are. Yes, I am. I am your true self. I am all the glory and hatred you've carried. I'm the driving force in your life. I had consumed you. We were one since you drank that Sapporo. How much I desire that drink. Do you? Slater half remained silent. Yet you've separated yourself from me while Master was brutally assaulted. You made a big mistake releasing me. You were very close. Before I end your life for good, I'm offering you a choice. We will join ourselves once more, or you will perish. With a brief hesitation, Sion looked back at his friends and stuttered, I refuse to join with you. His doppelganger swiped a fist. Then you will die instead! And now I shall demonstrate how weak and powerless you truly are. With all those people and feelings holding you back, you're vulnerable. Especially to me. Much like the original, he had his moves. All of those. He could emit shadowy energy while performing his tornado uppercut as well as other moves. He wasn't entirely faster than Sion, but he was twice as strong as he was. Sion was awestruck and he hardly laid a hand on him. Hit him back! Dominique encouraged. So did the others. But his mind was still in the gutter. Close to blacking out, Sion witnessed his doppelganger do the unthinkable. He did a dark Kamehameha wave, to everyone's surprise. Apparently it was by Sion's observation from Ayame's attack when she used it a few times back in Mikado. After the final blow, Sion lost. Volt and Co. ran to their fallen comrade who just laid there like a log. They slowly set him up, yet Sion was still broken in body and mind. That was too easy, even for me. I knew he was weaker without me and him. You bastard! Volt said with anger building in him. He still couldn't believe it was him influencing Sion all this time. Jet Black just cackled with glee. Co immediately rushed to him. Then Volt followed and unleashed their fury, but as they hit the double, Sion also got affected. The Z-Fighter shouted at them to stop attacking him after observing a few blows. From the startle, it was his chance to take Dominique with blinding speed. Then he lifted off like a rocket. Dominique! Don't worry, Sion, I'll go get her! Everyone except Wong remained unfazed. Ayame gave chase using her K-flight. The darkness went on for miles. Jeez, he's fast! Shin became exhausted as more energy was being sapped. Time to end this. Jet Black noticed he was being pursued. He abruptly stopped, causing Ayame to do the same. They were over the outskirts of Edge. He sneered, he charged forward, she covered her face as the darkness enveloped her. He lunged at her, causing her to fall to her demise over the city lights. She called the Nimbus, which caught her in time, and she couldn't see Dominique or the dark mass again. Ayame sulked as she returned to the men. Dominique, I've lost her. She's gone. Sion sunk to his knees. Damn it! She realized he wasn't upset with her, but all the things he did to Dominique and everyone else. He may never have the chance to redeem himself, or worse, he'd end up in prison for life because of guilt by association. Everyone was accounted for but the android. She figured she'd explain about Sion's most unfortunate event, the fission. Much like in chemistry, it's the ability for a single being to split into two different copies. Their qualities are similar yet different. They can be divided more or less equally in terms of power and appearance, but usually share a single lifeline. It is also the reversal and opposite of a fusion. From experience, she only knew two people that went through this, Piccolo and Majin Buu. And, well, this describes both scenarios here. If you've seen Dragon Ball Z, you should know this. And I liked how Grand Elder Guru gave Krillin his new powers and whatnot. But the nameless Namek happens to be Kami. And I don't pronounce them as Namekian, it's Namek, as I call it. Although, just like Sion's Doppelganger, Piccolo eventually merged with him before his battle with the aforementioned Cell, since he's classified as a Sumer Namekian, just like with Nail. It's possible that he would actually kill Dominique since he's Sion polar opposite. Since there's so much heat, Wong suggested Sion should recover somewhere distant from Dog Street. Street Fighter wanted to train at his childhood home where he met and betrothed Chaldea, and his master's old place. It would be better this way with very little distractions. Ayame figured if the master sees Ki, he could use it against his dark self since he's weak against light energy. Because he has dark energy. Because he must protect his friends and save his beloved. Instead of history being repeated, he decided to make things right. She headed back to Mount Pazzo and informed Goten and his family about the ordeal. Gohan volunteered to detect the Shadow's key since he's stronger than her and more experienced. Goten and Trunks try to protect whomever he'll strike next. It's highly unlikely he'll be anywhere outside of Edge since the Mikado group is no more. It is, however, likely that the Doppelganger would harm Dominique as soon as he gets through his better half. Sion didn't pack very much for his journey, except some casual clothing and whatnot, and memos. He could use some motivation and inspiration for whatever strenuous things he's trying to accomplish. Childhood home was a ranch house and tall lush field, lone mailbox and power lines. There were no inhabitants except a few insects. And there was also a distant mountain suited for Sion and Wong's training. And there was a log cabin between the summit and the entrance. So, Ayame decided to train Sion of the Kamehameha wave, while Wong actually teaches him how to meditate to combat his inner demons. And the remainers of what the doppelganger left. So, standing on the cushions, must elevate the pelvis a few inches higher than the knees, slightly the pelvis forward, making it easier to keep the spine upright. Head and spine must be in complete alignment, tongue against the roof of his mouth. It's said in multiple traditions that your chin should be slightly tucked in, the tongue must be pressed against the roof of your mouth, the lips must be lightly pressed together, shoulders back. Instructed that meditators start with short periods of 10 minutes or so of meditation practice. If it works regularly, it becomes easier to keep the attention focused on breathing. Especially awareness of the breath can be extended into awareness of thoughts, feelings, and actions. Training was constantly alternated. He was getting better with the meditation, became more focused and determined. He knew the pose as he saw Ayame use the Kamehameha wave many times. He needed to learn how to channel his latent energy. He became more used to his meditating, he was able to conjure more of it. The longer he charged, the bigger the beam was. While sparring out of nowhere, there was another white energy wave that made a nearby tree explode on contact. Ah! Wong! That was amazing! I didn't know you learned the Kamehameha wave. How did you know? Said he learned it a long time ago, though he hardly uses it since it's very destructive. Master Roshi and Master Gohan used to be acquaintances of his. You knew both Gohan Sr. and Master Roshi? He was not a huge fan of the latter geezer, as he's always obsessed with dirty magazines, which Ayame couldn't agree more. So Wong got back to training Sion, and he was really astonished. Thanks to his fantastic display, he felt a little more confident to learn this common yet unique ability. Because it was consume someone's energy, a person would feel more exhausted, so as to use it wisely in a wide open space. At first, he actually fell asleep as he got deeper into his full meditation. He was limp and the hypnotic feeling weighed heavily on his body and mind. It was almost like sleeping and dreaming, only sitting up. At least he had some rapid eye movement and extended control over his breathing. His mind began to drift away. It's another one of those loading screens, by the way. Like, seriously, if Bouncer were to have its own remake, they should at least present it like they would with any other cutscene. So, yeah, there's that. There's 6. There's when Sion was 6, then when he was 10, he met Chaldea. Met his lover for the first time. Lousy dry throat. Not easy doing these things. She gets sick very easily, but she admires Sion. About 2 years ago, Wong was still gone. He figured he was working at Mikado, but his friend Chaldea should apply for a job there. And Sion actually gave her a pendant, because she was almost automatically chosen to work at Mikado as an internship, but Actually, it was by Doragon, but little did she know she was being used for those lousy Bionoid experiments. And then there was that fake accident. Tragedy struck. Chaldea never returned and her parents were devastated, which I've shown you in the Mikado Saga. And if you would play Sion after you beat Magetsu for the first time, you would get this. Chaldea! That was all he could ever think about. He just wanted to end his life. So, there's another flashback. If you would play Sion's story, you would get so many of these, and would know more about him. About a year ago, he's living on more dangerous territories and moved deeper into Edge. Got into a fight with someone with balding red hair, blah blah blah. So, there's another flashback. Geez, all this meditating got him in a lot of his dark pasts. Fight was a challenge that Sion pulled through against the bum, and eventually he was suggested to challenge Volt. Someone. Anyone? Come and kill me! Anyone? You could use a gun if you have to. And that was when he was directed to Volt, located on Dog Street, the Bar of Fate. He's a really tough guy. And that was when he met Volt and became a bouncer for the first time. Sienna was with Aime in a grassy field. In the present, he was describing his experience in death, and she tried to absorb every single detail. It was like my life flashed before my very eyes, but I wasn't even close to being dead. That must have been one hell of a mind trip. I haven't really meditated before, but I guess you're making some progress. She guessed because her dark memories were reaching the surface. Although I would like to learn it sometime. Her demeanor was serious. Tell me, did you have any intense dreams when or before you saw your dark self? Were they based on your negative psyche? Like, did you have nightmares involving sorrow, anxiety, or fear? Or did you have some distorted flashbacks revolving around those feelings? Yes, I did. Before my 20th birthday, I was experiencing these things. I remembered emerging inside the dome at Mikado, and I fought Doragon, but I lost. It wasn't the same when I fought him before, but Master said I did this to him while he was dying, and I was alone. He addressed me as some kind of a criminal, but I wasn't sure why. I was also dreaming of myself slaying lots of people. I kept wearing that black hood, and I was howling like a wolf. A lone wolf! I enjoyed every minute of it, and it was always at night. Then I saw my dark self actually step out of a mirror as I stared at my reflection, and he tried to kill me. Spread to the one he saw reflection, his double was mocking him, saying how weak he was. He then managed to step out of the mirror and slay him relentlessly. It was almost too much for him and for Ayame to bear. Later that night, Sion wound up in a dark tunnel. A voice was calling to him. He was still weak. As he heard his name clearer this time, his eyes opened, and there he saw Chaldea in her younger 17-year-old body. Chaldea! Sion! Chaldea! Face illuminated with the bright light. He tried to keep himself from breaking down. You're more beautiful than I remember. She touched his hand in a coy manner. Sion, you must go now. Yes, we should go. Together. No, Sion. It's not your time. What? You must protect Dominique. Your dark self cannot get away with this. You're the only one who could stop him. She reached and touched the back of his neck, bringing him closer. One day, we will be reunited. But until then, my spirit will always be with you. I'll always be in your heart. Chaldea, please don't go. I love you so much. I know, but Dominique loves you. Go, save her, before you allow your heart to be broken again. I will, for her and for you. Be happy, Sion. Woke up inside Wong's bed again, drenched in sweat. His throat was very hard, but he knew what he had to do. He was strong enough to head to Mikado, but he just couldn't wait, as Dominique may be suffering from his doppelganger's hands. He wrote a note. Master, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me, past and present, especially when you were teaching me how to meditate. I understand I need more time to deal with my dark self, but I can't wait any longer. Dominique's life is at stake, and I cannot stall for another minute. I'll be using the flying nimbus to get me to Mikado. My vision has led me to her there. I saw her at the executive floor. Do not try to find me or send anyone to help me. This is my mission now, and I must accomplish it alone. But if you happen to find my dark self anywhere else, kill him without a second thought. Dominique's life is more precious than mine, as it is yours. Tried to keep his tears back. His despair was mounting. Please, Master, if anything should happen to me, save her and save yourselves, and if necessary, stop my doppelganger at all costs. Do not remember me as a criminal, and honor my death when the time comes. Always remember as the person I was before. Your affectionate son and disciple, Sion Barzad. It was too risky to sneak out, so he actually climbed down and opened the window. Crisp air greeted him. Nimbus actually met him without a rider. He actually summoned the Nimbus. Momentarily it came to him and climbed onto it. There's somewhere we must go to. You're not gonna like it. Cloud took off at top speed to his destination. He actually got to the station first. Nimbus headed to the stairwell, noticed someone walking around and hid himself underneath. Luckily, he never spotted him. When the coast was clear, he rushed up and turned left toward the maze. I think he was actually following the dark key, but it was actually something else. He remembered the rushing waters from the Mikado train exploding, and it smelled like a fresh bayou. He had a whoosh, and he started to run as fast as his feet could carry him. The wall of water was looming closer and closer. He tripped and fell with a thud as the deluge was closing in on him. Bracing for the worst, he helplessly closed his eyes as he was being trapped by the emergency shutter. After a few deep breaths, it was a hallucination. And then, eventually gathered himself and pressed onto an ambush. And these are based on all the enemies you would face in survival mode inside the maze. And also, Mikado Special Forces? What the hell are they doing here? He tried to shake off the image out of his mind, but as he felt a punch in the face, they were real. Although, they weren't really themselves. Strangest thing was, none of them said a word. Their faces were shrouded in a dark purplish hue. And there was also not only the Rent-A-Cops, but the enemies in the air carrier as well. So, he was beaten a couple times. They ganged up on him. Sion closed his eyes and for once conjured more of his energy. Managed to break free. There was the officers from the air carrier, too. Sion did the unthinkable as he made the incantation. Kami. Kami. Thrust forward. Ha! Like how he would say the Hurricane Blitz. Sion thrust his arms forward, but it was small, but it was enough to send them flying off their toes. Closed in on each one of the guards and knocked them out one by one. However, because of the cost of his endurance, he began to feel a little more weaker. He got to the last floor. He was still surprised they never held up the descending barricades. When he was being deluged, hardly noticed three of the trash can robots, again from survival mode. And you should look up the Great Clement. He uses PD4 and Dominique Cross for that. He's very good with it. So, he figured those were the same enemies he fought with, and his dark self probably reanimated their bodies somehow. However, he couldn't think very clearly during the melee when he was starting to black out. He was knocked to the floor and the impact just made his weakness worse. The enemies were regrouping. They were blown away by a few ki blasts. Unfortunately, Sion was losing consciousness before he had the chance to see the mysterious man. A tall shadow with short spiky hair loomed over his battered body, picked him up and carried him on his back as he escorted him out of the long labyrinth. And that's all I got for now because it's dragging on a little too long. So, see you all next time for part 3.